body, both in terms of structure and function, and of course Yahshua the Messiah being the reality of all of it, him fulfilling, and his death, burial, resurrection, and ascension being the real story that makes everything happen. Here you'll see the bones, which form the structure of the body, and the central nervous system, which coordinates the function. And of course, in the process, one of the things that is the wisdom of Yahweh is to be the creator. So he has caused the functioning within this structure, or the operation within this pattern, to bring forth life or procreate in man who's made in the image of the creator. So you see all kinds of different things here, and each of us has focused on a particular area, so that we are able to very succinctly and clearly explain something about what Yahweh made in his creation and how that thing that we're focusing on in the creation images or displays the form and the function that the Creator has in his own purpose. And so whoever had a particular thing, you're welcome to go ahead and start. Yeah, Lenore.
Can I just say one thing?
Of course.
When they first made the,
Come on up here and use this mic, please. Okay, just slip an arm through there. Okay. If that's all right with you, that should work easily.
Okay. I just have one thing. When Mitch made this chart, he had this all painted green, and the green was significant. And I was just looking it up in the Wikipedia. It's talking about green light. The physical green light has a wavelength of about 510 nm. And I was just, you put the 5 and the 1 together in the 6, and this is, the 6 is pointing to the flesh, the physical being, and this is all showing how this physical creation that is imaged by our Creator, how it's all going according to this tabernacle pattern, so that this color green is significant. That's all I had to say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know, maybe Lenore or someone else has heard. I have not actually seen in writing an explanation from Mitchell as to why the green color was chosen. What you talked about is part of this. Do you know if that was his intent?
Yeah, there was something, and in fact, it was some other measurement. It was like 440.
Okay.
But I figured the 5, 10, 6.
Uh-huh. Okay, I wondered. I also am aware of the fact that there are 3 primary colors in the visible spectrum. Blue, green, or, yeah, blue, green, and red. And the green is in the middle of the two, so it kind of shows that Yahweh came out of the pure spirit down into the creation and then goes back, so forth. So, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm looking here at the fact that, see, the creation originated in spirit, came down into physical form, and then goes on back into spirit. And if you look at the whole electromagnetic spectrum, there is the highest energy part, which is like, you know, your ultraviolet and your gamma rays and all that kind of stuff up there. And then you come on down into the visible and then right on through. But anyway, okay, I appreciate that. All right, I don't know who has a particular area that they were focusing on. I know everybody selected something. So whoever wants to, come on up.
Got the list. I think, is Danielle here?
Danielle's here.
Hers, and who is MW?
I don't know.
Well, she's next.
Okay. All right, Danielle, if you would. What's her area?
Man.
All right, here. Let me. Yeah, you can hold it in one hand if you want. Just,
that out, Joe. Can I go this way?
you can, but I got to reverse this.
Oh, I see. Okay. Be very brief. I'll be very brief. I'm going to just do a little bit. Would you do the reading for me?
Yeah, where's the other mic?
Yeah.
Another mic.
Okay, so my topic was man under substance, spirit, substance, source, and law, eternity, philoprogenitiveness, the love of one's offspring. You have, all of these here. Mine was man. Under man, there are 9 main systems in the body. So you have the nervous system, the reproductive system, the endocrine system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the excretory system, the digestive system, muscular, and skeletal. So I am starting with the nervous system. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to have you read just this part here and the first paragraph, and then I'll be done.
Diagram marked A shows the threefold nature of the nervous system conforming to the Godhead.
Okay, so what Dr. Harris actually is explaining here is that there is a threefold unity to the nervous system, and it directly correlates to Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua. Okay.
The brain encased in the skull.
So the brain is encased in the skull. Read on.
In this photo conforms unto Yahweh.
Now
the Father.
that is like Yahweh, the Father. Oh, Yahweh, the Creator, or the Father. Okay, read on.
The spinal cord encased in the vertebral column.
So you have the spinal cord here, encased in, what's it called again? The vertical, thank you. The vertical column. Okay, read on.
Conforms unto Elohim.
That conforms unto Elohim, or, you can see it, an actual picture or representation of Elohim here. Okay, read on.
The Son of Yahweh, who proceeded from the Father. The spinal nerves, of which there are 31 pairs.
Okay, now there are spinal nerves that come off of the spinal cord, and they actually go into every, how do I say that? They go everywhere in the body, and they send messages. Okay, read on.
Proceeding out of the spinal cord. 31 times 2 equals 62.
So there's 31 pairs, is 62. So it's everything except for this last one right here. Okay, read on.
And the terminal thread of the cord is called the phylum terminal.
So the 63rd, or that last one, is called the phylum terminal, or however you pronounce that. Okay, read on.
Is the 63rd nerve, and all 63 nerves conform to the 63 generations of the flesh from Adam to Yahshua, the Messiah.
So from Adam all the way, to Yahshua the Messiah was 63 generations. And there are actually 63 in type generations, if you will, located within the spinal cord to show you something about Yahshua the Messiah. Is that all that's there?
Since Yahshua the Messiah fulfilled all these generations of the flesh, all 63 of these nerves represent him. There are 8 cranial pairs, 12 thoracic pairs, 5 lumbar pairs,
I think they're up here.
5 sacral pairs, and 1, is it coccygeal? Coccygeal pair. These are pictured on the left side of the spine.
Is it
And
the right?
it's in the book.
Is it right? Yeah, it's right here. So say will you say them one more time so I can point to them?
8 cervical pairs.
So these here, and they look like little.
Nerves, you're pointing to the vertebrae.
Right, but you see how it says.
That's right.
Okay, but I'm saying within that, because they're encased in there, there's like the little lamb or whatever looking things. Okay, sorry, go ahead. 12.
12 thoracic pairs.
So they'd be located in here, correct? Okay, okay.
5 lumbar pairs.
All right.
5 sacral pairs. Mm-hmm. And then the coccygeal.
Yeah, okay. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. And then just the first paragraph, and then I'll be done.
The nervous system plays a most important role in the physical body.
So the nervous system is the most important. Okay, read on.
In fact, one could say it plays the most important role, for all the other systems are under the direct control of the nervous system.
So every other system, all these other 8, are under the direct control of the nervous system, or that type of Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua. Okay, read on.
We have already likened it unto the divine attribute of intelligence.
Now, that nervous system is correlating directly to intelligence. Okay, read on.
Which is the crown of the superincorporeal form of Elohim. It is a nervous system that coordinates all the other systems into a harmoniously functioning unit, and it can be thought of as being the life or spirit of the physical body. For without its quickening power, the body would be dead.
Right. And when I was doing a little bit of research online too, the chiropractic doctors use, they're always in tune with this particular system. And they were saying that if you have something just out a little bit in your neck, it will stop the process of the flow or the energy or whatever. And I don't know what I'm talking about yet because I'm just learning this. But basically, it will stop the flow so that the brain cannot connect to the example that he gave on the internet. He said, if you eat a candy bar and you have this sugar or whatever that goes out and it goes into the wrong spot, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to explain it because I don't know what I'm talking about yet. Let me just hold off. Is that the rest of the paragraph?
One more sentence.
Okay.
We like to think the nervous system as denoting spirit, for it plays the same role in quickening the flesh and does flesh as does spirit, or Yahweh, in animating material things. It is by means of man's nervous system that he is placed upon the highest plane of biological existence.
Okay. And that's all I've done.
Excellent. Okay, that was excellent. And
I'm going to go
what?
next.
You're going to go next? Okay, good. Okay.
Here's your book, but you might want to come up and read, because my topic is nervous system.
Okay. Can I read back here?
Oh,
May help you out.
Here's our book.
Okay.
Where's the...
I got it up here. But you'll need this one. So I'm going to help you. Oh, you got the other mic. Okay. Your pointer. Okay.
Good morning. My topic was this nervous system, which she went over what I was planning on going through, except for I was going to go to the next paragraph too. And there's a couple scriptures in there. When you come to them, I want you to get them. But like we were saying, this.
Excuse me, could you tell where you're reading from?
She's going to be reading from the 3rd volume of the Elohim book under the topic of the nervous system. And the whole physical body to me is very fascinating. I'm so glad that Dr. Harris was able to take the physical body and break it down so that we could understand something about even what's going on in the physical body, and even greater than that, to show how it tells you something about your creator. So with the brain, or the central nervous system, it consists of the brain, and it also consists of the spinal cord, and then like she was talking about, these nerves that go into the body. So it's a threefold operation, which is very beautiful because the brain itself, it controls everything in your body. And like she was saying, if you get one vertebrae or something off, then what happens is it's not communicating and things can go wrong. My boss has had a problem with her neck. And I mean, she's walking like this, and had to go to the chiropractor and get those things lined up again so that the energy or the life force could flow through her body so she wasn't basically off kilter. Now, we've been telling her to stop wearing them doggone high heel shoes, but she just want to be cute anyway, so now her neck is like, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. Right? Yeah, that's good. So the brain correlates to the most holy place, which is interesting because you see here, you got the two archangels, and they're joined together here at the mercy seat. They're almost touching at the top. Now, just so happens your brain is made so that you got the corpus callosum, and here you have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and they almost touch at the top. And your brain is in your most holy place of your tabernacle, which is your head cavity, chest cavity, and abdominal cavity. So there is a type and shadow of the brain. Now, the brain is something that you just don't, you know, if you go to the doctor, you got problems, man, they're ready to operate. Let's just go in there and just operate and sew your little self back together. The brain, you don't do that with. You don't just go into the brain and start operating. And a lot of times when they operate on the brain, the patient has to be awake. Because I guess there's not a lot of feelings. So there is no feeling. Well, and that's something.
Not in the brain itself, but in the membranes, yes.
In the membranes, there's feeling, but not in the brain itself. So sometimes they have to touch and talk to the patient to make sure they don't clip something accidentally. And another thing is that when people have strokes, they will have, if they have the stroke on the left side of the brain, it affects the right side of the body. Or if they have a brain bleed on the right side, then sometimes they can't move the left side of the body. Now, I'm not real sure why all that is. That's just one of the things that happens when people have a stroke. And a stroke basically is a brain bleed where maybe a vessel broke and the blood is not able to get to that portion of the brain. So that whatever it affected dies, and it affects something in the physical body. So your brain is a very important aspect of your whole life or your existence. You want this thing to be functioning properly. Now, then we have the spinal cord, which comes down from the brain, and the brain is threefold. There's a forebrain, a midbrain, and a hindbrain is what they call it. One of those at here is, I was looking at, it's called the brain stem, which has a lot of control. That's why when, like, people are concerned, like, if you get hit in the head, usually. But if you get hit in the back of the head, that can cause a lot of problems, like not being able to speak. Of course, we have our resident wannabe Dr. Ken. No, I'm just kidding. But he knows a lot about the physical body because of his profession. And he's very interesting and very knowledgeable, and we really appreciate that. So you have that spinal cord, so it's an extension that comes down from the brain. Also in this spinal column, they have something that called spinal fluid, and it's very clear, you know, like, and there's a scripture that talks about clear as crystal coming down from the throne of Yahweh. It's like that cerebral spinal fluid. And then she was talking about these 31 pairs of peripheral nerves that go out into the flesh. They take the commands from the brain to control every aspect of your whole body. And so you got to look at it as Yahweh. He controls everything, absolutely everything. So let's read in the Elohim book, that one paragraph, and that should do it.
Elohim Book, Volume 3, page 18, the nervous system and the pattern, paragraph 2.
Yeah, and it talks about the nervous system and the pattern. One other thing before you get started. The nervous system correlates with this attribute of Yahweh, which is intelligence. So there was something about intelligence. I'll have to do it later, I guess. But with hers, like she was talking about with the man, the reproductive system correlates with wisdom because it is wise for the creature to be able to recreate himself. But Yahweh put that wisdom in him. The endocrine system correlates with knowledge. The endocrine system has to do with hormones like the pituitary gland, the thyroid, and all that. They're small glands, but they have a powerful effect on the body. And if you ever think that they don't, just have a problem with your thyroid, and you're like in big trouble. Or if you have a problem with your pituitary gland. You see it on the news. There was this guy who was like 6'5" or something, but he hadn't reached puberty yet. There was something wrong with his pituitary gland. So they had to go in there and give him whatever hormones he needed so he could have a deep voice and be a hairy man instead of a big kid. I mean, he just grew like a big kid. He never got to puberty. So that means that he would never be able to reproduce himself because he had no, his testicles had not developed in order for him to produce sperm. So here, the beauty is correlated with the respiratory system, and I feel like I'm going into your topic a little bit. And love correlates with the circulatory system, and the circulatory system is the blood. The blood doesn't discriminate. It goes everywhere. It just loving. It even feeds the cancer cell more than it does even the regular cell. So it correlates with the attribute of love. And then you have the excretory system, which correlates with the attribute of justice. Now, justice is the excretory system. It decides what stays in the body and what has to go. So you know what? It kind of tempers love. Love say, oh, come on. Excretory say, no, you got to go. So the excretory justice puts the hammer down on what's going to stay in the body and what's got to go. So you got to have a little balance. You can't just be ever loving. Not that you can't, but anyway. Digestive correlates with the foundation. And people say you are what you eat. So digestive correlates with that attribute of foundation. And then you have power, which correlates with the muscular system. And then you have strength, which correlates with the skeletal system. So you have muscles, but if they're too big or too great, they would break the skeletal system. So they kind of balance each other. You're only as strong as your bones, you know. There's a balance there. So let's go ahead and read that and then.
Okay, page 18, paragraph 2. Mm-hmm. We have already gone to great extremes to get it across to our readers that Yahweh is spirit. Mm-hmm. John 4:24.
Okay, go ahead and get that.
Yahweh is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Now, did you hear that? She said, Yahweh is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So now I was in the sanctified church, and we tried to worship our Creator by jumping up and down and kicking over chairs and playing the music. That's not worshiping Yahweh. You see these attributes. These are spirit. This is Yahweh in spirit. And man reflects what's going on in the spirit through his own physical body because he's made in the image and the likeness of his Creator. Okay, read.
And that everything lives and moves and has its being within spirit.
Now, everything lives and moves and has its being within spirit or within Yahweh. Read.
Acts 17:28. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of our poets, of your own poets have said, for we also are his offspring.
Now we are also his offspring. So you can you see how everything moves and lives and has its being within Yahweh? And you know that from the child when it's born, when the first thing they do is they go, yeah, yeah. They take in that breath of life or that spirit. And without that, the baby is stillborn. So you have the body, but you don't have a spirit operating within that body. So it's very important that we understand that we move and we live and we have our being and spirit, although we can't see, touch, smell with our senses. Okay, read.
This spirit is the source and substance.
Now this spirit is the source and the substance.
The limits and bounds
Now see up here it says limits and bounds
of everything.
of all things.
Everything, both invisible and visible.
Invisible and visible. The things you can see and the things that you can't see. Read.
Yahweh in that state
Now Yahweh in that pure spirit state,
is without any descriptive shape and form.
there's no descriptive shape and form. You can't feel him, you can't touch him. Just like the nervous system operates, but it's not in any discernible shape and form. You know it operates because you're moving and you're doing all this. That's a physical manifestation of the invisible operation that's going on inside of you. Read.
But he took on a shape and form within himself
Okay, now Yahweh took on a shape and form. This is Yahweh within himself. Read.
that can only be seen in a vision,
Now he could only be seen in a vision here as Elohim. Read.
and it is by this shape and form, Elohim, that all things invisible and visible, spiritual and materialistic, are created.
Are created. So Yahweh is as the brain. Elohim would be as that spinal column, but all things come basically out of the brain through that spinal cord and into the physical or into the flesh or into your fleshly body. Read.
And he, Elohim, is the archetype pattern for
See, he's the archetype or original pattern. Read.
for everything
For
that is
everything.
created.
Go ahead.
For everything that is created.
That's created.
Furthermore, this super incorporeal spirit, being called Elohim,
No, this is super incorporeal. That means above the angels. He's in incorporeal form, but he's the king of all the angels. Read.
has the power to manifest himself in a physical form of a man,
Uh-huh.
Yahshua the Messiah.
As Yahshua the Messiah or Yahshua back here. Read.
1 Timothy 3 and 16. And without controversy,
Now, without controversy or any kind of argument or doubt, read.
great is the mystery of holiness.
Great is the mystery of holiness. Read.
Yahweh was manifest in the flesh.
Now, Yahweh was manifest in the flesh or in the physical body as Yahshua the Messiah. Read.
justified in the spirit,
Justified in the spirit, not by you. Read.
seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles,
Read.
believed on in the world,
Believed on in the world.
received up into glory.
And then he was received up into glory after his death, burial, and resurrection. He went right back into spirit. Read.
John 1 and 14. And the Word was made flesh
Now, the Word was made flesh, or this Yahweh Elohim was made flesh in a physical body. Read.
and dwelt among us.
And he dwelt right among men. Read.
And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Okay, how many more sentences you got left?
To the end of the paragraph?
Yeah,
Oh, we're about a little
A
less
few.
than halfway through.
okay.
Okay. And to walk around on the earth that he had created. I'll just start that a little bit back. Okay. Elohim has the power to manifest himself in a physical form of a man and to walk around on the earth that he had created.
Yep, he created and then he got into it. Just like if you build the house, you don't drive by and wave at it. You go into the house and fix you something to eat. Invite your friends over. So Yahshua the Messiah, he built this creation. He got right into it. He didn't just, see you guys, you're on your own. Satan's down there, good luck. No, he didn't do that. He got right down here and he even took the brunt of what Satan did, because you know it was Satan who wanted him on this cross and had been trying to kill him all along. So he said, take your best shot, Satan. And then Satan killed him, and guess what? He just got up. He got up out of that grave after that death burial. He said, okay, you tried to kill me, but it ain't gonna last. How you gonna kill the one who created everything? Read.
We have thus shown Yahweh or Spirit transforming himself into two manifestations.
Okay, two manifestations, read.
A superincorporeal form
He had the superincorporeal form of Elohim, read.
seen only
See Moses here? He only saw Yahweh Elohim in this panoramic vision that Elohim gave to Moses. He also gave him that vision to John on the Isle of Patmos. Read.
or with the spiritual eye and a physical form of a man which can be seen with the natural eye. However, it is the same spirit operating in all three states.
Right. It's Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua. What is it, folks? These three are one. You wrote a song about it. Here it go. These three. I forget the melody. Is a unity. Okay, read.
This threefold nature of Yahweh is shown beautifully by the nervous system.
Yes.
And it is divided into the brain, which is likened unto Yahweh.
Go ahead.
The spinal cord, which is likened unto Elohim.
Elohim.
And the peripheral nerves, which are likened unto the fleshly manifestation of Yahshua.
Right.
The brain is encased in the bony cranium,
Yes.
and by its convolutions and depressions can be thought of as having no particular shape or form.
Right. Just like a cloud. Read.
The spinal cord is encased in a bony casing also,
Spinal cord is in here. All right.
but lacks the convolutions and depressions of the brain.
Of the brain. So it's so smooth. It's like being in shape and form. It's like the cloud coming into shape and form in the spinal cord. And that's a witness right in your physical body to show you something about your creator, how he really is and actually exists, and not how we imagine him to be. Because we imagine any old kind of thing. We imagine, you know, look at this. They imagine him being a cow, a golden calf. That's so opposite of what Yahweh is. He's not limited to a golden calf. He is omnipresent. He's limits and the bounds. If you look at the universe, that doesn't even quite adequately describe Yahweh, because he's just so vast. Read.
So it can be thought of as having a definite shape and form.
The spinal column. Read.
The brain and spinal cord, being encased in bone, would imply their invisibility as far as the natural eye is concerned, whereas the spinal and peripheral nerves have no bony covering and might be thought of as being therefore visible, as was the fleshly manifestation of Yahshua the Messiah.
Okay, let's take this by the tabernacle pattern. The nervous system is encased in this bone. Just as, you see the tabernacle here? You had the most holy place and the holy place housed together. So you have the brain encased in the bone, and then you have the spinal column encased, the spinal column. This is the spinal column, but the spinal cord is encased in here. So it's covered, just like the most holy place and the holy place had a covering. But the peripheral nerves, they come out into the body or into the flesh, just as the court round about, it had no covering. So even when you compare it with the tabernacle pattern, everything just fits. Is there any more?
Yes, a little bit. One can readily appreciate the role of the brain in the nervous system and its correlation with Yahweh the Father.
Now the brain correlates with Yahweh the Father. Read.
And the spinal cord acts as a go-between or intermediary between
Go ahead.
the brain and the spinal nerves,
Okay.
just as Elohim was our mediator.
Yep. The
First-
mediator, the one in the middle. Read.
1 Timothy 2 and 5. Mm-hmm. Oh, here it is. It's the one about the mediator.
Right.
1 Timothy 2 and 5. For there is one Yahweh
There's one Yahweh,
and one mediator
one mediator
between Yahweh
between Yahweh
and men,
and man,
the man, Yahshua the Messiah.
the man Yahshua the Messiah. So you can't be running up to Yahweh, hey, I need some help. He'll do you just like he did the children of Israel. Pew! Swallow up the earth. You need a mediator. You don't just go to the Father. It's the same way when you're talking about men of importance. You don't just walk up in there, even if it's a king. You don't just walk in there. You have to have a mediator, somebody who knows the king, for you to go in there. Okay. Anything more?
Yep. And please be advised that the
Paragraph.
and please be advised that the spinal cord always carries out the will of the brain.
The will of the brain, the spinal cord does. Just like Yahshua the Messiah, he always said, I'm carrying out the will of the Father. He didn't do anything on his own. It was always the will. These three are one, the same spirit. Read.
Just as Elohim came to do the will of the Father when he was manifested in the flesh as Yahshua the Messiah.
Right.
Psalms 40 and 7.
So I hope
Through
that at least that you get out of this that the brain shows forth Yahweh, the spinal cord is Yahweh Elohim, and the peripheral nerves in the flesh show forth Yahshua the Messiah. That's the basic principle of this complicated. I mean, you can get into deep stuff with the nervous system, but basically it shows Yahweh Elohim and Yahshua. Okay.
Psalms 40 and 7 through 8. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. I delight to do thy will.
He delights to do the will of the Father. Read.
O my Father, yea, thy law is within my heart.
Okay. Is that the end of that paragraph yet?
Yeah.
Whew. So that's it for the nervous system. And there's a whole lot more that can be gone into. Hallelujah.
Thank you. All right, that was very good, very detailed, very extensive on the nervous system. All right, who is next? Don't be shy. Rise and fly. All right. Cool.
The other way, but it's fine. Okay. Of course, mine is the proton, the neutron, and the electron. And, the atom, I mean, yeah. And, I don't know. Okay, so everything is made up of atoms in terms of when the physical body is made. The previous speaker talked about how that brain is formed and the spine. When a child is born, that's the first things that kind of come together is that brain and spine. You have the brain typifying Yahweh, Elohim, and pure spirit over here. And then you have the spine with the 33 vertebra that they were talking about. I'm just saying this with the child, how that comes out, 33 days that in Moses' vision where he saw the Yahweh Elohim show him the archetype original pattern, and then that Yahshua coming on down into the earth plane or his heart. And so normally when you first see those things form, that's, when you know you're pregnant, so to speak, and you see those things. But I said that to say that everything is, those cells that come together you have, then it goes a little deeper than that. Everything is made up of atoms. So you have that atom, okay, atom, you see, but you see the first thing in that vision, we have ADAM, which all things originate. So we have the proton of that atom. See, atoms form molecules, molecules form cells, cells then form tissues, and the tissues come together to make organs. And so those are the things that happen during that process of Yahweh putting together that body. You understand? Bringing those things together, and they're charged by a proton, which is a positive, proton is a positive subatomic particle, has a positive charge, okay? And it's in the nucleus of the atom, okay? Just like Yahweh, this heaven, you have the most holy place, court round about. He's a positive charge, you understand? Or, and charge itself, we should look it up in the dictionary, because the charge that we're talking about means the amount of electricity, okay? So a positive amount of electricity, and we know Yahweh Elohim is the light. He's that charge. So he's the one putting these things together. I think another meaning of that is like the responsibility of being in charge. But isn't Yahweh in charge of everything? Operation or commission.
Yeah, to give a charge.
What?
And another thing, atoms, they don't have their own charge.
Oh. Mariah says atoms don't have their own charge. Okay, I don't know. Okay, that's cool. So then the charge that they have is from, is that correct, Ken?
I haven't looked that up.
Okay.
I just learned it in biology.
She just learned it in biology class, that they don't have their own charge, which means Yahweh is in charge, okay? Because you're not combusting from yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh is putting those things together. Then you have the neutron part of the atom that has no electrical charge, okay? It has no electrical charge. The proton has an electrical charge, but the neutron has no electrical charge. It's neutral. And the only one, I guess all the atoms have, it says they're not part of a hydrogen nucleus. So they don't, the hydrogen nucleus doesn't have that, I guess. And so then the electron is an elementary particle consisting of a negative charge that goes around the proton and the neutron, okay? So we have the most holy place, the holy place, and the court that went around about, okay? You have a positive charge, you have a neutral charge, and you have one that is just negative going all around about, okay? So we know according to the pattern, you know, Satan is not getting back up into this positively charged. He can only float around, okay? Once that child is sealed and been formed in you, or that egg gets in there, the sperm gets in the egg and it's sealed. That's like that Holy Spirit being sealed. Nothing else can penetrate that thing. That hard coating goes on there. Nothing else can get in. It can only go around about, okay? So we have the positive charge, the negative charge, the neutral charge, and the negative charge of these subatomic particles that don't even form a cell. And cells we have to look at under the microscope. So these are the things that form the cells. And actually, proton means first. First. And we know that Yahweh is the first. Alpha, Omega, he's the first and he's the last. So those are the, that's mine. Atoms, Mariah, right? Make up cells. They're the basic unit of a cell, how they come together. And that's kind of, you make that, I know we made that diagram with the nucleus. You use the styrofoam things. You guys did that in school in science class, and you put those atoms together. It's to me hard to comprehend such a small thing. You know what I mean? That, okay, there's this little thing spinning around something. We're talking about, you can't see it. So that is an atom, okay? And we know that there's a first man atom, and Yahshua's the second man atom. So that's all. Oh, question or comment?
Well, I was wondering, what I wanted to know, atoms are the building block of so-called non-living
Atoms are the building block of everything.
cells too.
Yes, sir.
I know that atoms in cells.
There's millions and millions and millions of cells, or atoms in cells.
Right, in
There's
cells.
millions of atoms in cells. Use the microphone so
Right. Okay. But atoms, because I think when you look at what we learned was like atoms, that chair, cells, animals, living things. I do know, I realize atoms are within the cells. That's where they're getting these charges from, to operate.
But atoms are in everything that exists.
Right.
In this chair, in the computer, in everything. If you were to look,
Well, yeah, I understand that. No, so-called non-living matter,
right,
atoms.
Living-
Living matter is cells, even though atoms are within cells, because you need those charges in order for those cells to work. Because if you look at a chair, that's not a cell. Now, if you look at a chair made out of wood, there's cells in there from the living.
because it's living.
Right.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that if it's a non-living,
Well, that's
thing.
just the way I remember learning it in school.
atoms make up everything.
We used to teach that too in class, the difference between living and non-living.
Well, they were saying too that if it's look up neutron in the dictionary.
You want charge too?
You can look it up. I don't want to take too much longer.
You want charge too?
I said yes. I mean, we already got the definitions of it, of charge. Yeah, but go ahead. You can get it. Neutron. That's my mama.
An electrically neutral subatomic particle
Mm-hmm. Go on.
in the baryon family. Baryon family.
Okay.
Can you repeat what I'm saying?
In the baryon family. I don't know what that means.
Well,
Okay, but go on. Okay, there's something more to that in the neutron that it talks about that's in every nucleus except for the hydrogen one. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
And so that might have something to do with living, non-living?
No.
No? What does that have to do with?
It simply has to do
These might-
with the type and the weight of the atom.
Okay, so it's a lot lighter in one or the other?
Neutrons have a weight
yeah,
or a mass.
it's 1839 times that of an electron.
Right. And so it takes 1839 what?
It says 1839 times that of an electron.
Right, all right, so it would take that many electrons in order to equal the weight or the mass of one neutron. It's
Okay.
a big particle.
But,
So
okay.
some atoms, all right, I don't know how to make this real short.
what I'm asking about
A
is-
hydrogen atom has only one proton and one electron, no neutron.
say that again.
A hydrogen atom has one proton and one electron, but no neutron,
And that's what I'm saying.
normally. But
Right.
there is also what they call heavy hydrogen
Oh, okay.
and heavy hydrogen.
Okay.
So in some of these cases, there can be more or fewer neutrons than, quote, normal.
Okay. I'm sure there has some spiritual significance that I don't know about.
Yes.
And you'll explain
But
it.
normally, well, I'm not sure I know everything
Not today,
about
but,
it.
you know.
A hydrogen atom has one proton. A helium atom has two protons. Okay, that's what makes the difference between whether it's a hydrogen and a helium. Nitrogen has 7 protons. Carbon has 6 protons. Oxygen has 8 protons. That's what makes them each of those particular elements.
Okay.
Okay?
I found on the internet from Northwestern the whole thing about the atom, because the atom is the
Use the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. The atom is the basic unit that everything comes from. So it says, what is an atom? An atom, a fundamental piece of matter. Matter is anything that can be touched physically. So your chair, your body, it's all coming from atoms. Everything in the universe except energy is made of matter, and so everything in the universe is made of atoms. So does that answer the question?
Okay. All right.
I have one more thing.
One more thing too.
And maybe somebody, you or whatever. Okay. According to that chart,
Meaning the
the
name chart.
No, I think I just answered my question. Never mind. I got it.
But we got to get it.
No, I got it.
Okay. Never mind.
Thank you.
She's got it. So everything is made up of atoms. Living, non-living, everything in the universe. So in other words, that's typifying how everything came out of one creator, one Yahweh, Elohim, into shape and form. There's no Big Bang theory, okay? We didn't come out of a Big Bang, or if it was, the Big Bang was Yahweh, okay? He's the Big Bang, Yahweh Elohim. When he spoke, that was it. Bam! So that's your Big Bang. He spoke it. Yeah, he spoke it. He is the Word. All other words originate from. When he spoke, language came into being, you know. When he,
Original linguist.
he's the original linguist. He's the original. He's the source and substance. So that's what the atom is typifying there, the unity of the spirit of Yahweh Elohim. Deuteronomy 6:4 and Ephesians 4. Okay? All righty. That concludes.
Very good. All right. By the way, Yahweh Elohim being the original pattern and the word of Yahweh, the original word, what is the study of word origins or the original word? Etymology. And that's one of the reasons why Dr. Kinley would go into etymology and talk about divine etymology, which is one of the reasons why when we look up words, sometimes what we need to do is look up original meanings of words, not just modern usage. Because a lot of times the modern use of a word is very different than the original use and meaning of a word. And especially when you study things like in the Bible wasn't written in English originally. And I'm talking about the original scriptures, right? And so sometimes what you want to do is go back and look up what the meanings of the original words were, okay? and Yahweh Elohim is the word from which everything originated. Sometime we can get into a little more detail about atoms, cells, different kinds of things. I'm going to mention real quick here. Atoms normally in nature combine. They have a tendency to combine together. Even the hydrogen atom doesn't exist in nature normally as one atom. It's very rare. What does hydrogen exist as? Well, no, I'm talking about hydrogen as hydrogen. It is a gas in state. Here's what I mean. It's not one hydrogen atom. It's two hydrogen atoms that bond together. Okay? It's two, yeah, but what I mean is that the hydrogen atom normally exists as two atoms together of hydrogen bonded, okay? Or it can exist as one. But let's take the example of water. Water is a combination of three atoms, right? Two hydrogens plus what? Plus one oxygen. Now that together makes what we call a molecule. Okay? So atoms usually exist in nature, in their natural form, as molecules. Very rarely, in some cases they do exist as separate atoms, but rarely do they exist as separate atoms. More often they're in combination, chemically combined together. Okay? And they become molecules. Yeah?
What exists as an atom only? What's an example of that?
Oh, she asked what exists as an atom only, and you're talking about as a single atom. I don't recall all the details. I believe one example would be gold.
Oh, that's why it's so precious.
Well, I don't, yeah. I think that's an example, but I'm not even positive that I'm accurate there. Yes?
Now, my question stems from what you said, 1 and 2. There are different types of atoms, right?
Yes.
Gold.
There's many.
What atom did they split to make the atomic bomb?
Well, the first atomic bomb was a fission bomb. And again, I'm not an expert on all this, but I know that they used uranium as part of it. Okay? And uranium is an atom that has, I'm trying to remember, over 90 protons in each atom. Okay? More than 90 protons are in every single uranium atom. And when the atoms get real big like that, they start to become unstable. Okay? And what happens is when they become unstable, then they start to split or degrade. Okay? And they will spin off certain parts of their atomic structure, certain protons and neutrons and so forth. When that happens, there is energy released also. And that energy release was part of what was involved with the atomic bomb. Okay? Now, some of the atomic bombs are what they call fusion bombs, which means that they would take very small atoms and then they would combine together. What atoms are those? Hydrogen. But in order to generate enough heat and energy for hydrogen atoms to bond together and become helium, you have to have enough energy to start with and enough heat to start with. So at least many, many, many years ago when they started doing this stuff, they would use uranium or plutonium or some other very unstable big energy atom, humongous atom, and the fission, the splitting apart of that atom created enough heat and energy to raise the energy for the hydrogen atoms to then bond together. And then when they fused, you ended up with much greater explosions. Okay? So there was fission, splitting of atoms, fusion, combining of atoms. Two hydrogen atoms, when they fuse together, I don't mean chemically, but I'm talking about when the nuclei end up combining, you end up with a brand new element. And hydrogen, when it combines with two hydrogens together, you have two protons, it becomes helium. So any atom with two protons only is helium. Any atom with one proton only is hydrogen. It's the number of protons that determines the type of element that it is. And then in nature, these atoms usually combine chemically. And what, I can explain what that means. Combining chemically means this. It means what they do is when they come together, they share their electrons with each other. Not the protons, but the electrons. And when they share their electrons with each other, they're bonded chemically. So when you have water, it's two hydrogens and one oxygen. And those atoms are all together, and the electrons tend to flow from one hydrogen to the oxygen and eventually over to the other hydrogen and back to the oxygen and back to the other hydrogen. And they share, they come around so that all three of those, the hydrogen, the oxygen, and the hydrogen, are chemically bonded together. Okay? And I guess my point is that there are just different levels of combinations here. So you have atoms, then they form molecules. Molecules combine together and form what they term as compounds. Compounds come together and form various different other kinds of things and can become things like very large items like DNA. Okay? DNA is the main item that identifies the nature of a cell. Okay? And DNA is a humongous compound, basically, or series of compounds strung together. Okay? I'm not being a real good chemist here, but you understand the idea. So it's atoms, molecules, compounds, and then other structures that would form into things like cells, or the components of cells, like the DNA, so forth. I hope that helps a little bit. We could get into chemistry more later, and, you know, but yeah, it's okay. But anyway, that's the kind of thing you go into, and then you end up, really, as you study, you end up learning a lot in the process. Okay, and sometimes what we learn, we have to go back, and then we have to say, okay, let me take this to another level here, because I've learned something, but then there's another aspect of it that I need to incorporate to get, you know, to get the full story.
Sort of how like a microwave works, where the cells just come together and create heat? Or?
Well, my understanding, which is very limited, of how microwaves work is this: that the waves, the wavelengths of the microwaves end up corresponding to some components of the distances within water molecules. And what happens is, then when those waves come in there, since they correspond to certain distances within the water molecules, then it actually causes the molecule itself to vibrate. And that vibration is what causes heat. That's my recollection on microwaves. You know, Yes, ma'am.
If you don't want to just, recollect, if you go like to like how stuff works.
Oh, yes.
See how.
Wait a minute. Let me get your end here.
Okay. If you go to howstuffworks.com or eHow, it breaks everything down. So, I mean, stuff that you learned in high school and you were looking out the window not paying attention, now you can know on your little phone.
Yes, there are tremendous quick reference resources these days that us old folks never had available. And that's true. Lots of these websites. In fact, Wikipedia itself is a fabulous resource. But I want to mention, like with anything else, well, let me just say it this way. You know if they write it on the internet, it's true, right? No. Anything can be written on the internet, okay? So again, it's like anything else. You want to go in and find out what's said and see if you can get confirmation on that. Just to make sure you check your witnesses to make sure that they're true witnesses. So, but that's right, tremendous amounts of info. Okay, very good. Ken, are you next? Who's next? Kim, did you? No, not today. You're next time? All right. Who? Ken, who? Ed, come on, somebody jump.
I think Ken should go because he's the medical guy.
Yeah, Ken's the resident.
Come on, Ken.
All, you know what we're trying to do here? Let me back up on something, okay? The project here on this chart is not to try to educate all of us about everything scientific. The project here is to simply show how something that we're looking at goes by the pattern to show the Creator. That's it. All we really need to do is go into, this is threefold. That shows the most holy place, court round about, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Thank you. I'm done. You understand what I'm saying? That's enough. You can go into more detail, but that's enough. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I wouldn't mind sharing something.
Well, then come on up and do so. And then, see, Ken's going to have to jump faster. He'll jump next. All right.
Yeah, because I'm going to be short. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you just wanted to hit me. It's all right. There you go.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I really do appreciate this chart because it shows you when you're talking to the average person, and you're talking to an intelligent person, and I'm talking to you, Cousin Keith, if you're watching. When you're talking to somebody in the creation and you're talking to them about God, when you start talking about something from the Bible, well, that's what you think. Because they just assume that that was just somebody's idea. It's words, humble jumbo, that was put together thousands of years ago. That's your opinion. But when you take them and what they know, that's got a power. And one thing that I like about this chart is, spirit, substance, spirit, and lore, eternity, philoprogenitiveness. This is showing something that the whole world is familiar with. The whole world has this tabernacle pattern that they're not familiar with. And he talks about that he girded you, though you did not know him. So you think, well, I did this, I did that, I did this, and then you find out he did that. It's just like when you're a baby, everything revolves around you. And then you go, wow, it's not until you get into your 20s, you say, wow, my parents were amazing. And when you were 17, they were total idiots. But then with your experience, you say, well, wow, they weren't so stupid after all. So you're looking at this physical creation, and it's simple. It's got a most holy place, a holy place, and a court roundabout. It's threefold yet one. And this threefold yet one goes right to your physical body, so that you've got a head cavity, a chest cavity, and a tummy tum-tum, and an abdomen. And you are threefold yet one. And then You say, well, hey, I'm more than that. You know, I have arms and I have legs. But what you need to, in fact, live, what you need for actual life is a head cavity, a chest cavity, and an abdominal cavity. And they showed a man the other day on Oprah, and he's a speaker, and he was born deformed. He's just got like a little foot. He's got no arms, and he's married, and he's wealthy, and did you see anybody see him? He's able to sort of like waddle. He's got something on the bottom, but I was saying, well, that is a testimony. I mean, because he's got a beautiful wife, so you know, he's got a lot going on. And when he was 10 years old, he wanted to commit suicide. What kind of life is this? But he has this, and he's got something that he's able to move on. But this is what's absolutely necessary for life. Now, what Yahweh did, we say, well, I have arms and legs. And it's like they're extra, they're a bonus, they're great, and they help you navigate, and they help you feel, and they help you explore this world as you go around the sun. And they're threefold yet one. You got the arm, upper arm, you got the lower arm, and the hand. And you say, well, that's too simple. Well, I'm sorry. You got a threefold face frowning up at me as you're telling me it's too simple. You got your eyes, you got your nose, and you got your mouth. And it's threefold yet one. And Yahweh did all of this in order to show forth himself to everybody. So I can talk about the unity of the Spirit, how Yahweh, Yahweh, pure spirit, takes on a visionary shape and form and then operates in the flesh as Joshua the son of Nun. If you want to know more, come back, come down to this school. This is a wonderful school. And also as Yahshua the Messiah. He's threefold yet one. And he shows himself in the creation. And if you are any kind of a creator, if you are a songwriter, if you are a cook, you express yourself. If you're an artist, you write your name at the bottom. But somebody who really understands art, or somebody could say, oh, I know who did that. That's a Picasso. You know what I'm saying? You come forth out of your creation. Somebody could go into your kitchen and say, oh, Tina made this. You know what I'm saying? She's heavy on this. She likes this spice. She likes that spice. So this whole creation is showing him forth. And we never knew that. We had no idea. We were walking around and we were the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. We didn't know the name of the Father, Yahweh. We didn't know the name of his Son, Yahweh Elohim. You know, we didn't know the name of the Holy Spirit. That was a big question, Yahshua. Until this man had this vision and this revelation, and he came down and he taught us. Now you look at this. You look at this year, and you look at this. We were talking about the tabernacle, and you got the proton operating, what we would say, in the most holy place. Well, you can't get more positive than pure spirit. He is wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, foundation, strength, justice, beauty, love. That's what he is. When it says we have to worship him in spirit and in truth, you got to worship him in wisdom. And then you begin to, does it really make sense for me to take my little boy when he's 8 years old and cut off a part of his, what is that about? Well, you got to come down to this school and find out that he set up under his purpose a circumcision under the law that's pointing to something. See, we get what? Oh, shut up? Okay, we get to the end and we say, what's that about? But there's going to be a circumcision of the heart. And it's the preaching of the gospel that's going to give you the circumcision of the heart. So I just wanted to talk about so you got summer, positive, right? Fruit, fruition, everything coming forth. Then you got your transitions, fall, spring, the holy place. And then you got this negative charge down here, winter, death, things go to sleep. But it's all showing forth the unity of the Godhead. It's showing forth your Heavenly Father. And I'm just saying that I didn't know that. I didn't know nothing like that. And when I go to say this, when I came to this class, I thought, well, man, I've been to college. I know something. And I came to class, and the first speaker that I heard was I knew that he was a cleaner. I thought, what can I learn? A janitor. I thought, what can I learn from him? I mean, I only was a recreation major, But anyway, so I said, what can I learn from him? Sit down, shut up. And I did learn something. And that's what we invite you to do in this school. We don't want your money. We don't want anything for you. You don't have to come here and watch it on television. You say, I don't want these people to bother me. All right, but there is something to this school that you should really give this some time and give this the same, and use that same mind that you would use if you were going to buy a house, that same discerning, like, wait a moment, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? Or if you're going to have a relationship with you, have that discerning mind. Use that, and don't be afraid to ask a question. And that's it.
Very good.
IDMR, Lansing class. And tell them the address.
All right, there we go. All right. Thank you, Lenore. All right, Ken, please. We, just so everybody knows, see, on this session here, we need to close up by about 20 minutes to the hour. So, all right, sir. For you.
All right. Well, I didn't get a chance to look over my stuff, but you know what? We live in this creation, and what is it all about? It's pointing to Yahweh. It wasn't made for you can enjoy it along the way, but it's all testifying to Him. So what I do dialysis, and what that is the cleaning of the blood. And what I know, out of all organs, the kidneys, that is the only organ you can lose 80% function of it and still live a normal life. You won't need dialysis. So when you look at that, 80% function, it is so powerful. If you lost 80% function of your heart, you're done. Your brain, you're fried. 80% function of your muscular system, you can't walk. And what we do in dialysis, we come in, and you say, well, how do I know I need dialysis? You'll know, Because people be wondering, well, you will know. When you get nauseated, short of breath, your body's acting differently, even to a point sometimes that if it gets so bad, uremic, which is like from the byproduct of urine, will start crystallizing and coming through your skin. That's how bad it can get. So the indicators, so like saying, what are you looking at all this about? It is pointing unto Yahweh, Elohim, Yahshua the Messiah. That's what it's all about. So with dialysis, you look at the indicators, you go to the doctor, you look at your lab work. Your creatinine, which is the byproduct of muscle metabolism, would be high. What that means is not getting out of your system. And your kidneys work with the nephrologists or in order to be a nephrologist, you have to be very intelligent because the kidneys equilibrium, such a big balance in the whole body. So with dialysis, what we do, the first thing is that we go in and we got to check the water. Your body's going to be exposed. Your blood will be in a little tube, a filter light, with little tubes within it. These little tubes in it have semi-permeable membranes, which means some things are allowed to come in and go out. And what it is, this water will mix with other solutions to make what's called bicarb. and to make dialysate eventually. But this fluid will be all around this thing, these little membranes within there, and there's going to be exchange taking place. What are you coming down here for? An exchange to take place. You know, if you're not coming down here for an exchange to take place, you coming to the wrong place. Now, this happens sometime in dialysis. Not only does a chemical exchange take place, but also removal of fluid. Because someone would say, you know, it's a twofold operation to it. I still produce a lot of urine. Yeah, but there's no waste in your urine. Your creatinine, your potassium and all that, that's still, it's removing part of it's doing the fluid part, but it's not doing the other part. So you still need dialysis. And sometimes people have came to dialysis, somebody put them on the machine, but they don't set a goal. A goal. What's your goal down here? To inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah. That's why you should be coming down here. It's not, I'm sure we could find better people to hang with on a Sunday morning. Because if you look at it, I would have never met you, you would have never met me. We're in different circles. What I like, you might not like. What you like, I might not like. So we're in different circles, but what Yahweh do is bring us all down here with a goal in mind. And who's doing an operation? Yahweh. So somebody has come in for dialysis before and a goal wasn't set on the machine. You got to put how much fluid you wanted to remove. And, you know, they feel, I wasted my time coming here today. I'm still overloaded with fluid. I can't breathe well. And, you know, they'd be really mad. I've seen it, you know, say, well, can you come back tomorrow for an extra treatment? What do we do to class? We try to make as many classes available as possible because you might need an extra treatment. You might have more fluid, more waste that needs to come out than somebody else. You know? So you come. Every treatment that you can. Come and get you an extra treatment. It won't kill you. And then with dialysis, so we check the water. We have some of our water system is, we do reverse osmosis. We take water from the city and we bring it in. First thing with that water, we got a temperature. We got some heat going on, some energy. Now it can't be too cold and it can't be too hot. We got to write, and we got to come in the morning and you check the water. You document all this stuff down, the water temperature and the this and the that and all that. But these water systems are worth, some of them, $75,000, $150,000 water system. I always said if our company could, we produce some of the best drinking water. You know, the thing about it is though, what people don't realize, you know, for you and I, it's better for you to drink city water than RO water. Because you got this, your body can get rid of the potassium and the fluoride and all of that you need in that water. It's like you're still drinking that regular water, but you're missing those substances in that water. What you need, potassium and chloride. Now you can still get it eating the bananas or whatever. But so we take this water. If this water has chloramines or chloride in it, we have levels set where you can have this much. Very little. If it's too much, it will kill. You can kill the whole unit of patients on a machine, and that's happened in units by somebody being lazy and not checking that water. We got to check the water every 4 hours. Blood, water, spirit 40. And what you look for patterns, because Yahweh is a pattern. So patterns within patterns. The normal person will come down, and that we expose their blood to so much water in that dialysis machine and that dialysate, that exchange is constantly taking place. I look at your labs, I decide what kind of potassium that I need you to be on. Because in life, things like to be equal. By nature, balance, they don't want too much of this or too much of that. If your level is too high on your potassium, which is the energy for your heartbeat and all of that. Too high or too low can give you a heart attack either way. So what I want to do, if you're way up there, I want to expose you to a lower dialysate potassium, maybe a 2K, so that I can make this one here come down and exchange over to get it out of you. if you too low, I'm going to expose you to a higher one so that this side here is going to pull and bring it to you on that side. I want to make a transfer. So we look at blood, and then the water is in the dialysate, and the spirit is that transfer. You know, you can't really see potassium nakedly in chloride, so that's that transfer going over. Then the next thing is the 40. 4 hours, the average person is a 4-hour treatment. Some of them are less. What makes you need more of a treatment? The more demons in that body. You need more dialysis. You need more time to get them out of here, get them out of there. They might have to come 4 times a week. I've seen people that have to be on dialysis 5-6 hours. That's a long time. Then you need a site to get the blood in and out of the body. Whether it be what we call a fistula, you take a vein and you connect it to an artery. And then that way you have blood coming out of the artery and going into that vein. And we can put something artificial in you. That's called a graft. And it's Gore-Tex, like we connect it to an artery and then to a vein. You need that combination of that blood to be able to come out of one and go back into the other one. So that's your blood, water, spirit, 40. And how should you feel when you leave dialysis? You should feel better than you did when you came. When you come down here, how should you feel when you come to class? If you came in there with your head hanging low, after you've heard this gospel preached, you should be having your head high in there. Now, this class is more in the feeling, you know, but it's more about a feeling. It's about the substance of, because see, a feeling goes away, but it's a start. That's why we have a choir, to put you in the mood, you know. That's why you have pep rallies for football games, to get those guys in the mood, get that spirit up, and then you get out there, you know, and you perform. So out of all this, what we're looking at, what is the substance of all this stuff? To see Yahweh operating in everything, because we live, move, and have our beings within Yahweh. You will never be able to get outside of our Yahweh and look at him. Like you, from a person, you will never see your own face. You see a reflection of it in the mirror. But like I'm looking at you guys and seeing your faces, you won't get that opportunity. I always thought about if somebody got decapitated, because the brain can live 7 minutes, right? Without oxygen. You know, I wonder if they can look and see their body. Because you got that, but see, you never see that face. You never see your face. Why? Because Yahweh said, if any man see his face, he shall die. And, you know, when you just look at all that coming together, so coming here, you know, we're getting extra treatment, learning of Yahweh as he really is and actually exists. And we're at the end of the, you know, so whether you believe it or not, because 1,000 years with Yahweh is as one day. So you are at the end of a creation. I don't care if this creation go on for 10,000 more years, you're still at the end of one, because 10,000 years is nothing in eternity, no comparison. And guess what? In the 10,000 years, you still would not be here. Right. You know? So the average lifespan of a man is only so many years. And they have some concern about that now. They say, wait a minute, people are living too long. Yeah, we got to pay all this Medicaid and retirement to them now, you know. So, you know, medicine's supposedly getting better in that. But nothing will ever top this eternal life. And you do want to see whatever you reading or learning about in the physical, always look for the spiritual aspect of it. Because that is what Yahweh has, that mediator for us, looking and seeing Yahweh operating. And what you want to look eventually to see is him operating in you. That you're making some wise choices in your decision making. First thing I like to think about when I'm getting ready to go somewhere, when I used to travel doing dialysis, is there a class? Just like a dialysis patient, you don't go on vacation without somewhere to go do dialysis. You get all that set up before you go. You need to make sure, because you're going to be out there on vacation, you still have all these toxins on board. where is the closest unit where I can get a treatment? First thing with class, where is the closest unit I can get a treatment? We know we live and have our beings within Yahweh, but you still want to be able to come. He set it up that way. Come down here.
Right.
Don't stay at home and watch Ustream.
Right.
Watch that on extra time. Your other time you have. You know, you come and congregate with the brethren and learn all you can while you can. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Very good. Thank you much. All right. Well, that was good. Well, that's the end of our session. Just remember this. We all need kidneys, don't we? Because we've got to get rid of satanic spirits and carnal-minded thinking. So, okay. Well, this has been an enjoyable session. We'll proceed next week with this. I have a question for everybody that's here. Normally, when there is a 5th Sunday in the month, we do not have a workshop at 9 o'clock in the morning. For those of you that are going to be here, what I want to see is who wants to have and will attend a workshop if we have one on the 5th Sunday.
Oh, we will because we skipped the first Sunday.
No, I understand that, and that's fine. Okay. All right, so that's almost everybody. So we will plan on having a 9 a.m. workshop on the 5th Sunday. And yes, ma'am?
That would be the ministers' meeting.
Yes, that would be the week that is normally the ministers' meeting, and in this case, well, yes, in this case it will be the ministers' meeting. That's correct. Which, the way we've been doing it, we have been basically, since really these are quote-unquote beginners' meetings, but there's very few real beginners at this point, we're kind of blending all of it together because even the beginners are becoming ministers. So we're all good. All right, let's dismiss. Ed, do you want us to dismiss us, or do you want me just? Okay, please stand. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time and now and ever. Let us all say, Hallelujah. And we've got to reposition the chairs.
Caught up in a world they say happened by chance. They wanna believe that it's all in their hands. They try to convince me they shape their own destinies. But if they knew Yah like I know Yah, they'd get down on their knees. Yes, if they knew Yah like I know Yah, they get down on their knees. They don't know He's in complete control. Elohim is running His show, yeah. He's in complete control. Elohim is running His show. Freedom of choice is the law they're spreading around. Divine intervention is nice if God is ever around. They don't wanna believe their every step was patterned by Him, that He's got it wrapped up tight, line upon line. They're going back to spirit again. He's got it wrapped up tight, line upon line. They're going back to spirit again. They don't know He's in complete control. Elohim is running His show. He's in complete control. Elohim is running His show. He's Alpha, Omega, Almighty Creator, first cause of creation, the Lamb slain from the foundation. see, he told Jeremiah, I made you a prophet long before. This earth had shape without form before it was void, yeah. He said, I possessed your ways before I made the deep blue sea. I am the cause, the reason for it all, and all I had to do was speak. Yes, I am the cause, the reason for it all, and all I had to do was speak. They don't know he's in complete control. Elohim is running this show, yeah. He's in complete control. Elohim is running this show. He's Alpha Omega, Almighty Creator, first cause of creation, the Lamb slain from the Lamb slain from the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, Alpha and Omega, Almighty Creator, yeah, first cause of creation, the Lamb slain from the Lamb slain from the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, of the world, of the world, of the world. Woke this morning and in a full fright, I dreamed that Yahweh took it out last night. I wasn't standing where I should have been. He said, you know, you knew better. You knew it was the end. Saw my brethren all dressed in white. They didn't know me as I stood there and cried. I knew the tears had run down forever. There was no sound of glory for me, just the sound of his displeasure. But when I did awake, I was so relieved to see the sun smiling through my window, like his son smiling at me. Oh, when I did awake, I was so relieved to see there was still some chance for me. Brother, what a nightmare. You really had to be there, yeah. Brother, what a nightmare, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was awful, y'all, 'cause I wasn't saved. Got to the wire and I had to misbehave. I couldn't run and I couldn't hide in the presence of his anger. I was a pitiful sight. I woke this morning in a full sweat. I took a moment out to catch my breath, 'cause when you dream about that lake of fire, you just want to know more and more, to be all he desires. Yes, when I did awake, I was so relieved to see the sun smiling through my window, like his son smiling at me. Oh, when I did awake, I was so relieved to see there was still some chance for me. Brother, what a nightmare. You really had to be there. When I did awake, I was so relieved to see the sun smiling through my window, like his son smiling at me. Oh, when I did awake, I was so relieved to see there was still some chance for me. Brother, what a nightmare. You really had to be there, yeah. brother, wouldn't I? Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. My Messiah, mine, lift me to the holy place. My Messiah, mine, shine thy light upon my face. Lift the darkness from my eyes. Let me see where Satan lies. Let me know the joy of life known only through you. My Messiah, mine, how I long to be your bride. My Messiah, mine, through you there's eternal life. Let me learn of you all I can. Guide me with your gentle hand. Let me know that I am always loved by you. Let me drink your living waters. Let me sacrifice the blood. Immerse me in your spirit, Yeshua. Oh, let me drink your living waters. Let me sacrifice the blood. Immerse me in your spirit, Yeshua. Oh, Yeshua. My Messiah, mine, you have healed my many scars. My Messiah, mine, I love you with all my heart. Let me live through your grace. Let my soul be your heart.